Next, we have May Louis.
Hi, is this okay? Is this good? Okay. I'd like to thank you for inviting me to speak today, and congratulations to the Metro Toronto Chinese and Southeast Asian Legal Clinic on 25 years. That's quite amazing accomplishment. I've been asked to bring a community, frontline, grassroots perspective to the panel, and I'll be talking about three topics. The first is, has the Charter eliminated overtly racist laws and discrimination? And also a bit about what CCNC Toronto is doing. The second, does the Charter make it easier for racialized groups to make complaints about discrimination? And finally, what can legal clinics and other supporters of social justice do to help advance the rights of racialized communities? So in terms of the first section, unfortunately, no, the Charter has not done away with overtly racist laws such as the Chinese Head Tax and Exclusion Act of a number of decades ago. I'm just going to mention three current examples. Bill C-43, the Faster Removal of Foreign Criminals Act, which includes a measure that would allow the immigration minister huge discretionary powers to decide who can enter the country and the power to deny temporary resident status to whoever the minister decides. The second would be the Refugee Healthcare Cuts Bill, which denies healthcare to people from not yet defined safe countries and failed refugee claimants waiting for appeals or deportation. This was recently amended after community protests to include impoverished refugees. However, it remains highly discriminatory and problematic. And there was actually something in the paper yesterday from Saskatoon about an MP there, Kelly Block, who sent around a flyer to her constituents that says, "Ending unfair benefits for refugee claimants. New arrivals to Canada have received dental and vision care paid for by your tax dollars. They've had free prescriptions. Not anymore." So anyone wants this reference, you can ask me about that after. And I just wanted to briefly mention a bit connected to Grace Edwards' comments about wages. Current laws on minimum wage, with the lower rate of 15% less for foreign temporary workers. Ontario's minimum wage is $10.25 an hour. 15% less than that is $8.70 an hour. Both those wages are below the low-income cutoff, just so people know, for a single adult in a large city. In terms of the question about the existence of the Charter eliminating discrimination against Chinese Canadians and other racialized communities, no, unfortunately, the Charter has not done that either. Well, of course, having a Charter of Rights and Freedoms is preferable to not having one. Words alone will not eliminate racism and discrimination. This is similar to what David was saying earlier. Only actions will do that. We need laws with consequences for those who violate the Charter, laws which are enforced. Such actions will begin to chip away at the system of discrimination and racism that pervades Canada. Just a few examples of state-sponsored discrimination, violence against the police, against Black African Caribbean Canadians. There's a report by the African Canadian Legal Clinic, the Police Use of Force document. Aboriginal Canadians and their experience with violence by the police. One example of many is the Ipperwash Inquiry launched in 2003. Lack of police action in support of the missing and murdered Aboriginal women in British Columbia, and the Native Women's Association of Canada, and the recent inquiry into the RCMP misconduct would be further examples. And state-level discrimination against Muslim Canadians, a report put out by the Canadian Council for Refugees entitled "Feeling the Chill: Discrimination Against Arabs and Muslims in Canada." And in terms of issues that CCNC Toronto is involved with, we have an upcoming conference called Happy Two Asians, celebrating activism against activism against racism in media. I have postcards, so please come get some, and there's some on the desk up front. It's on Saturday, November 10th at Ryerson University. This marks the second anniversary of the racist article in Maclean's magazine entitled "Two Asian," in quotes with a question mark. And this article very much mirrors similar themes faced by the Chinese Canadian community 30 years ago when W5 aired a program called Campus Giveaway, which was the impetus for the formation of CCNC as a local and then national organization. We're also involved with the Chinese Workers' Rights and Safety Project, which is focusing on Mandarin speakers living in Toronto and the various workplace discrimination and issues that they face, low wages, health and safety issues, unpaid wages, any other issues that we're doing. So it's a combination research and outreach program. And finally, we are constantly denouncing racism in the media. Two of the most recent examples are the $100 bill controversy and a recent racist ongoing program on 102.1 FM The Edge, which there's a racist character who is either Chinese or is pretending to be Chinese, speaking as someone who speaks English as a second language, who is made fun of by the host. So we actually have a complaint that's in process to the CRTC, and we'll keep you posted about that. The second point is about having our rights entrenched in the Constitution made it easier or more difficult for racialized groups to voice concerns of discrimination in the broader society. So first of all, on the ground and on the front lines, many newcomers to Canada are not aware of their rights under the Charter. Secondly, because of narrower definitions of citizenship, more and more newcomers are not actually covered by the Charter. And thirdly, even for legal immigrants, as well as Canadian citizens from racialized communities who are first or 1.5 or second generation or more, experience mild to severe racism on a day-to-day basis. Lastly, even when people are aware of the rights to which they are entitled, because of power imbalances in our society, which has been talked a bit about already today, complaints are difficult to get heard, to see through, and even more difficult to win. The violation of people's charter rights, employment rights, and other civic rights happens all the time. A few examples from our case logs involving Chinese Canadians in Toronto. A man contacted us who had been harassed by his employer, who created a poison work environment for him. He had to resign from his position under great emotional duress. He's not able to work, and because of a delay in his bringing his complaints to his union, the union is unable to help him. A woman working for a hairdresser who told us that her boss takes a percentage of her wages on top of the fee he charges for her chair in his shop. She's treated like an independent contractor, and so she has no EI or CPP benefits. A woman who's working in an office is being racially harassed by coworkers, all of whom are white women. When she politely asks them to stop, she's mocked and told to get a sense of humor. She knows her colleagues are feminists and can't understand why they think racism is okay. The one other racialized woman in her workplace is afraid to make a complaint to management with her. And finally, what, if anything, can legal clinics and other partners in the social justice sector do to help advance the rights of racialized communities? We need more public awareness campaigns in many languages and in locations that racialized communities are going to see them. We need more partnerships between organizations with resources and grassroots community groups to ensure that the excellent community work that is done on the ground is well funded and not going from project to project. We need a united voice to speak out to all levels of government to ensure that the most vulnerable of our population do not fall through the cracks of a system that is being designed more and more to isolate them. And we need leaders in position of influence and decision-making power to speak for the marginal populations that aren't heard. Thank you.